Good morning. Good morning. It's Monday. Yay! Yay! It's the start of a brand new week. It's the last week in May. Can you believe how time is flying? This is unreal. This year just seems to be going faster and faster and faster. How are you? I hope you had a wonderful weekend. Whatever you did this weekend, I didn't do very much, which for me now, I'm like, am I getting older? Because doing nothing for me is now a perfect weekend. Anyway, I hope you had a great weekend and I hope you're excited for the start of a new week. For our friends in the United States, happy Memorial Day. Hope you're doing something fun today. And for all of us in Africa, I want to say happy belated Africa Day. I hope you had some exciting celebration, something great that you did this weekend. And I wanted to start off our week with a reflection on an episode that we published on Ndini last week. And it was episode 67 with the phenomenal Dr. Thabo Ncube. If you've never heard of her, heard her story, I highly encourage you to go to episode, I want to say it's episode 39, where I interviewed Dr. Thabo for our platform and she shared her story. To give you kind of and I won't do it justice because she has a truly inspiring story, but to give you kind of a shortened version of it, at 14 years old, unfortunately, her mother was killed in a tragic car accident. And at her mother's graveside, she made a promise to her mother that she would, I think her words were, strive by all means to become a doctor. And as life will have it, as fate will have it, that journey to becoming a doctor was not an easy one. There were many challenges along the way, including moving to a new country, the challenges of moving to a new country, not having money, and by virtue of the kindness of strangers and inspiration as well from I think she went to meet Oprah Winfrey. All of that inspired her to just keep going on this path, to keep going on this journey. And she did eventually graduate from medical school, but she's chosen to take her path in a different direction. And she's now become an inspirational coach, an inspirational speaker. She's spoken on international stages. She's spoken alongside greats like Miss Lisa Nichols, like Michael Beckwith. She's truly just blazing a trail in this space and sharing her message of inspiration and encouragement to all of us. And so we had an opportunity to record a live, her speaking live at an event, an International Women's Day event. And that speech we published in episode 67. And I highly encourage you to check out episode 67 where we recorded the speech, but also, as I said, episode 39 where she shared her entire story. And she's truly so inspiring and such a great speaker. Hey, Nyla, thank you so much for joining. How are you? It's been a long time. And so, yes, I really encourage you to check out those episodes. But what I wanted to speak to you about was something that Dr. Thabo said in her speech, which truly so deeply resonated with me. And she said this line where she said, I'm going to read it to you. When you allow your light to shine, you unconsciously give permission for other women to do the same. And I thought, wow, so often we're so consumed with ourselves and what's going on with us and how we think we're not good enough and we're not doing enough. And we also fixate on the negative feedback that we get sometimes from people where, we'll have, I know in my own scenario where I might have like 10 people tell me that, oh, wow, you're doing great and this is great. But it'll be the one person who says, I didn't like this or I didn't like that I fixate on. And yet I lose sight of the fact that me being me, you being you, it doesn't matter what your path is, what you do in your life for a living, that someone is looking at you and is inspired by your doing, and you are inspiring in them possibility. So never lose sight of that, is that you never know who's watching, you never know who's being inspired by what you're doing. And what Dr. Tavo said also reminded me of something that I had read before in a book that I'd read. It's by Marianne Williamson. It's a phenomenal book. It's called A Return to Love. And it's a passage that actually very often gets attributed to Nelson Mandela. I think many people, I've read it so many times on the internet that, oh, this is something that Nelson Mandela said in his inauguration speech. Now, I have to be honest, I have never read what Nelson Mandela said in his inauguration speech. And I read somewhere recently where Marianne Williamson was asked about the fact that this passage gets attributed to him, and she said that he didn't actually say it in his inauguration speech. But whoever said it, whoever's it is, I read it in A Return to Love from Marianne Williamson, and I'll link to that book in the notes in case you're interested in reading. It's a really great book. And here's what she said, and here's what I would really like for you to take with you as you go through this week, is it's something that's called Our Deepest Fear. And I'll read you this passage, and I hope it resonates with you as deeply as it resonated with me. And what Marianne Williamson says in that passage is that our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine, as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It is not just in some of us, it is in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we're liberated from our own fears, our presence automatically liberates others. Woo! Woo! I love that because it speaks to, we're so often afraid, not of failure, but of success. We're so often afraid of what other people will say, what other people will think. And so we diminish ourselves, we shrink ourselves. We don't want to own our accomplishments because, well, what will other people think? And so this week, I want this to be your permission to step fully, to be fully all that you are, all that is possible for you. And I want to wish you an amazing week. I want to wish you an amazing last week of May. And as you step into June, as we go into really the last, month of this first half of 2019, I want to ask you that question of what is it that you're preventing yourself from achieving? What is it that you're afraid of? What is that power that you're afraid of stepping into? So I wish you a phenomenal week.